and thank you again for being here with us today. Helô talks to our dear teacher, Thiago Silva. Hi, Thiago.
Hi,
How are
hello.
you?
I'm good. How are you doing? Hi, everyone.
Hello. Wow. Thanks a lot for being here with us. And Thiago is a very special teacher because he has some experience different from the usual, the US.
Yeah.
Thiago has a British accent and he's been here working with us. So Thiago, let's start talking. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself, about you, your educational background? Mm-hmm. Tell us about you.
So thank you for having me here, for inviting me. I turned 41 years old, so I'm an old teacher now. Oh. And the first time I went to London was 2005. So it was I was there to basically study English. And then you asked for about my background. I did this technician course, like interior design course in London.
In London,
yeah.
Wow.
But that was 2005 was when I started to learn English.
Mm-hmm.
So going to school and then start working, and then this course took like almost 2 years to complete the technician course. And it
was the interior design.
Interior
course
design, yeah,
in
it was
London.
amazing. Yes, so and it
was like a double experience too, because you were there getting the language and the technical.
Yeah. But that was when I finished this course was by the end of 2010, I guess, 2011.
Okay.
So it took me quite a long time to feel comfortable to do like a technician course. And
right.
Yeah, so but it was amazing. It was amazing. Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Very, very nice.
So, and then a little things that I did in London was, when you don't have experience or you don't have English, so you start working like you're passing through papers on the street.
Basically, great. But that's a great experience because it's
not in the winter time. Hello.
No, I forgot. I thought it's Brazil. And Thiago, I've been to London once, and I spent 3 days there. And people tell me that I was lucky because I saw a blue sky in London. And people say, "Oh, hello, that's so difficult because it's really foggy." They talk about the smog, which is the smoke and fog. Is it really the weather?
The weather. I guess you were lucky because probably was summertime or the fall as well. But the winter is very long. So basically, like November, you're gonna start to see a little bit of the bright of the sun by 8 a.m. and by 4 o'clock, it's like pitch black. It's like night. Wow. And then during the day, it's always gray because it's raining, it's wet, and it's windy, and it's very cold.
Yeah, I was there, I guess, April and May, the beginning of May.
So it's the start of the summer. So it was the spring and summer.
That's why. Right?
But it changed very quickly. So, but the one is hot, is very hot as well.
Oh, really?
And the city hasn't been designed for the hot weather. So you go to the tube. It's very, closed.
Stuffy.
Yeah, and then sometimes you go in the morning. You put like a coat, and then it start get hot on the tube. So it start like an onion, take like layers and layers and layers of clothes. And then, but then I remember, I think it was 2007. It was a really, really bad summertime, and the deepest. Tube stations, they were giving like bottles of water, like because it was really hot, so people was like passing out on the tube.
Because and I know Europe, it has been more and more like the high temperatures.
Yeah, that's true. Mm-hmm.
So, but you were saying that your first work experience was like. Feeling cold.
It was a little. I mean, I remember because when you don't speak the language, you feel more comfortable with your community. So I was working with Brazilian. I was basically living with Brazilian people, and then I met I made a few friends, and they had the job, and they said, "Oh, I have the job." So they're looking for someone to basically handle. It was first agency was through. I think it was a gym something.
Okay.
So it was like handing papers.
Handing in,
yeah.
Okay.
And
like people on the street.
On the in front of like a tube station, like people getting out, and I was there, like very early in the morning where people were going to work, but it was winter time. So because if you stay with gloves, you can't handle the paper very well. So I had to take like one, but then my hand would freeze, like was so
God.
Cold. And so the beginning was a kind of little bit difficult, but then you just basically start working and then studying as well, and so it got better, definitely.
Very nice. And how long, Thiago, did you stay? Like the first time you went to England?
From 2005 to 2011.
Really? Did you stay all this time?
Yeah.
No wonder you like it there so much. I think you have adapted so much.
Definitely.
Wow, that's 6 years.
That's 6 years. Yeah, 6
and
years.
what, I don't know if you were going to say that, but I was curious to know about what other kinds of job did you have? All
right. So then in 2007, I had to come back to Brazil to do a surgery. And then I remember, so 2005 and then 2007, it was like, where is my English? Because I was living in London, I was like, where is my English? And then...
because that was 2 years.
Yeah, and I was like, oh no. So I recovered, and then I went back to London, and I was like, I'm going to change everything. So I moved out from where I was living with Brazilians, community. And I was moving to...
that's a very important tip.
Yeah. So...
run away from
definitely.
Brazilians.
And it's actually... I always like to talk to my students about this as well. So can you imagine? I was in London, living in London for 2 years, and I wasn't like, maybe I was basically scared, not scared, but I was just worried about like, I have to survive here. Because it's a new language, it's a new country. I was 24 years old. That was back in 2005.
And so
no internet. So I was very scared.
The weather was a challenge too.
Yeah.
As you said.
And
lots of challenges.
And then when I say to my students, I say, listen, I know it's difficult to learn English here in Brazil because you basically talk Portuguese all the time. But then you have to be very careful here because here we talk Portuguese all the time. So you need to put your mind in English at least like once, because most of my students, they have like one class. Né?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
But you have to be interested.
Usually
you have to
once,
Yeah, you have to be interested. You have to take your book 15, 20 minutes during this week that you're not talking to me. It's very important.
It has to be an effort.
Definitely, yeah.
A choice, really intentional, right?
Definitely. I was there exposed to English, and I was basically running away. So I say, to my students, do you really want to learn English, or do you want to run away from English? Because you can.
That's true.
You can. And then after 5 years, Helô, I was, still making friends, and it's very common to come across Brazilian people. They were living in London.
In London.
No English, or very basic English.
I know.
And I was like, oh my God.
And like they've been there for a long time.
Yeah.
It's the same in the U.S. I know lots of Brazilians who live there, and they just talk to Brazilians. They go to church. They go to like any entertainment they have with Brazilians.
I think this is a very easy trap to fall into.
Because I think
sometimes
they feel safe.
Yeah, and I think sometimes they don't realize. Because
do you think so?
I think.
Wow.
Like you said.
It's because it's a comfortable area.
They go to church, so you build up a routine.
Yeah.
And sometimes they go like
a clan.
Yeah. I'm going to go to work now. But then you realize you're inside the kitchen talking in Portuguese to other, Brazilian person. And so I think that's easy trap to fall into. But when you are well, or when someone talks to you and say, well, be careful, because you can also, fall into this trap when you pay for a teacher, an English teacher in Brazil, because some people say, oh, I need English for 6 months. And I was like, well...
Like an hour a week?
2 hours a week.
How many days would that be? Like 2 hours a week, and a month is 8.
Is that possible? I don't know, to be honest. There are a lot of marketing around there. I mean, probably you know better than me. There are lots of school offers like, oh, in 6 months you're going to be talking English, fluent English.
Yeah.
And
I usually tell people that this is a lie, Thiago. I usually say, let's be honest, it's impossible. Look at what you're telling me. Like, you worked for 2 years there and you were not aware of being intentional and being involved. So
it's crazy.
And here, you were in Brazil and have classes, and when you go out of the classroom or out of on the computer, you were exposed to Portuguese. Yeah, because you were in Brazil. So.
Yeah, it's interesting because this idea that now I have, this awareness, I like to say to my students as well, because I say it's prioritize something that you like as well, that you need as well. So yeah, for sure. But it has to be natural, I think, as well. People sometimes they want to focus so badly in something, and it becomes too much, and then it comes to that. People say, "Oh, I hate English. I've been learning English since I was 10 years old.
And I cannot speak.
And I can't speak." And I said, well, let's...
And we fail to put the blame on ourselves. They never say, it was where did I fail? Yeah. Not only about the language, but as you said, attitude. That's why it's very important, really. Yeah. And I think another thing that helps a lot, guys, it's... working in other country. I mean, of course, if you can work, back at that time, I could work 20 hours. So after you came to Brazil with that awareness, you said, where's my English? And then you got back to England. Yeah. And then I got a job in a restaurant. Oh. No experience at all. And then there was just one Brazilian guy there. And it was a Belgian restaurant. And so I met a lot of French people, Polish people, the managers, they were British girls. And melting pot then. Everybody was there.
Was this experience.
Amazing.
I think my English took this peak because of this. Because after, I remember getting to a table. So we basically had this kind of training to talk about wine and the food and what comes,
all the information you have to provide.
Exactly. And what has peanuts or something that can be dangerous for someone. And then I special the day, the soup. And I had to, basically write the things, and I had to, oh my God, I remember was this morning, coming to a table and explain the plate of the day, the recommendation and the board.
Describing
and I was like, oh my God.
Wow.
So
what a challenge.
Yeah. And then I was like, no, but I have to do this. And the restaurant was very busy, it was crazy.
And not just one Brazilian. So nobody you could talk to in your own language.
Especially because,
perfect. Difficult, but it's the perfect scenario.
But now, I remember, looking back, it was perfect.
For sure.
And then after 8 hours working, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so tired. But then people were going to the pub next door to drink. And I was like, okay, let's do it. And because I felt more comfortable, of course, talking to the girls from France or the guys from the kitchen, they were from Poland. And so we were basically talking. And, sometimes the alcohol comes in and then
feel more relaxed. Of course, a little beer, a little wine.
Yeah, so that was my second experience. And then I worked in this restaurant. It was a franchise. And I remember... I was working and I was a head waiter, and then I finished there as an assistant manager. So I felt as well, more, I was kind of growing inside the company. And, but it was very tired. It was very tiring. It was very difficult.
Yeah, I can imagine. Because working in a restaurant, it's hard work because it's nonstop, I guess. Mainly if the restaurant just opens at night, but sometimes during the day and night.
Yeah, it was breakfast, lunch.
It's never ending.
Never. The tea, and then the afternoon tea, and the dinner.
So how many hours, Thiago, do you remember? Like how many hours you did a day, for example?
At the beginning, it couldn't be more than 20 hours. But then, of course, they were giving more than 20 hours. So I don't think I'm going to get in trouble because of this right now.
No,
restaurants. So it was 44 and 44, 46. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, when you want a system manager, you don't have to handle plates all the time. So in the peak hours, like the hush hours, you have to be there to help the people. But it was a lot of responsibility as well because I remember because as a system manager, you kind of get registered in this. It's not organization. Well,
institution,
something like this to control. Not selling people to the teenagers, the underage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So when you enter in a restaurant in UK, you see the names of the system managers there, and if something happens and they are selling. If I am the system manager and that time
that happens
I get
under
arrested.
your
Arrested.
Because it's your responsibility.
Arrested.
Because they are very strict to the law. Like if it's a minor underage, cannot buy a drink.
Can you be so? One day gave
you would respond to that. You would be responsible.
If the minor is with the parents, that's okay. So that's gonna come to the parents. But if you can see tables sometimes like young people celebrating like 5 or 10 people, and then it's easy sometimes to
one of them like is a minor. It's all together.
Yeah, and then so the recommendation was if you think the person is under 21, the age to drink is 18. But if you see and if you feel like I think it's under 21 because of their parents, you can ask for the ID. If the person doesn't show you the ID, you cannot sell
you have the right not to sell.
And that was it. So then then I started to do the course, the interior design course. So I had to reduce my hours because it was a lot of drawing.
Then you started, you had to study and so on.
So
perfect.
I
nice.
kind of cut my hours in half. It was like I was basically surviving with my money. And when I finished my course, I should go and do the internship. But it wasn't unpaid.
Oh, really?
And I was like, what am I gonna do now? So then my parents were come back to Brazil. Everything is so good now here. So I came, and then I was finding jobs as sales consultant, not a designer, which was an amazing experience as well. But I'm working as a salesperson, and I'm very bad at selling things.
It's different then, Thiago. It's different.
So then that was it, and then I think
that's why when you started working, I remember that you had arrived from London, and then you stayed some time with us.
Do you remember how was it the first time we met? The couple, you had a couple here. They were doing, they changed it from the school that I was teaching.
Yes. Oh my God. Who are they? Yeah, they told me about you.
Yeah.
And they said, Thiago, he's a very nice teacher. We like him a lot. And then maybe he can teach us here, blah, blah, blah. And then wasn't it?
It was Helô and
Enio. I think they're married now. They have a baby.
So, yes.
Hi guys. I see them.
If you're listening to
yes, I'll make sure they know because I run into her sometimes.
Oh yeah,
in the church.
So and then I remember when you called me, and I was like, well, I think Eloisa just has girls teaching. And I was like...
you thought it... No, of course not.
I was working here already.
Oh, yeah. I just never had a chance to talk to
okay, so then I started working here.
Yes, Thiago, I remember. That was so nice meeting you.
That was in 2000 what? 2012, 13?
I think so.
10 years ago?
10 years ago.
Oh
Time
my
flies.
God.
But Thiago, then I remember that you went back to England. I think you had something about your visa or something that you said, "Hello, I don't want to miss the chance. I have one more year to go."
Yeah.
And then you went back there.
True.
One more year, Thiago, because then I don't know, things happened because we also have the pandemic. So, but that was before.
Oh yeah. Everything got.
We would never imagine.
Yeah. So then 2014 November, I decided to go back to London because my visa would end by the end of 2015. It was the last day of 2015. So I said, well, just go and gonna enjoy the last year that I'll have. So I stayed there for more 14 months. So in total was 7 years and 2 months. Counting the days. And because I thought that I could renew my visa or extend my visa somewhere, but I couldn't. But 2015 was because I knew it was getting to the end. So I lived that city like, oh my God.
It was like sad.
It was, but Helô,
like you were brokenhearted, maybe, or not?
Yeah, I guess so. But I remember talking about like London. This city has like something on me that I cannot explain. It's easy to see people say, "Oh my God, London is it's not good because it's always raining and people." But I guess the structure.
I know, Thiago. I don't know. There is something there because the time of that trip that I took, I think it was 2015. I visited London, Paris, and Brussels. London was so much better. Yeah. For example, Paris. Everybody talks about Paris. It's a window display. It's wonderful, beautiful architecture. But London is cozy. I don't know. I don't know if it's that Parliament.
I remember.
I don't know. I really enjoyed it.
My cousin visited London with his wife. That was 2015 when I was there. And they took a long trip. Like they went to New York, they went to Paris, they went to London. They spent like 5 days in London, so I was taking them to places that not tourist places. My cousin was very upset because he had to leave London for 5 days. But I remember telling you a very quick story.
Okay, yeah, no, I want to know. I was going to ask you to talk a little bit about the culture. What's the special about it? Tell us.
I remember that I did a hospitality service in December of 2014. So it was a very difficult job because it was an event. So we had like cocktails to prepare and drinks and everything. And then we had to put all the tables back. So carrying heavy things. We were like very tired. So we left the event by 1 a.m., something like this. It was very late. And we were walking, and then I saw this ale, and by the end of this ale, it was this beautiful image of the London Bridge by the end. Wow. I was like, guys, can you come back here? And I said, it's paid off. My day is paid off. And then I was there for I had spent already 6 years. So I went back 2014. So, I had so I made sure, I was like, I'm going to make sure my 2015 is going to be basically this. I'm going to find something to look at and say, wow, look at this.
So
this is,
keep it in your mind, in your memory.
And I think this is what has this big impact in me when I start talking to people about London. And I made a lot of friends as well.
The places are beautiful. It's old. Some people, they say, I don't like to see old things. It's fantastic. Yeah. It's beautiful. It's history. And that Tower Bridge,
London Bridge, and then you have London Eye, and then all this. So even if you go walking, because you can walk through the Thames River, all through it.
Yes, yeah.
So sometimes
I did a little.
Yeah, so sometimes you're walking, and then you see under a bridge, and the architecture, the work they put on under a bridge, not on the top, but under the bridge.
Under the bridge.
And I was like, oh my God.
It is itself beautiful.
And also, London is a very quick city, so you meet people and then you say goodbye to people a lot as well. So I think that's why relationships there are so intense. So you meet people and then they're there for just because of the internship or because they want to study English.
It's usually a short time.
So
it's
so
a fast
that's
connection.
why you have to say, oh, I'm gonna enjoy as much as I can. And then I'm gonna say goodbye.
Right.
You know? And but I made so many friends. I remember if I can still call people, like I made a very, very good friend in Italy. Well, she lives in Italy now. Holland, people from London as well. And yeah, it was beautiful. It was beautiful.
Very nice. And Thiago, what are some contrasts, like your analysis, for example, of our culture? And do you think does the weather influences people's behavior there?
Yeah.
What do you think? What would you say? How is London different?
Well, definitely weather, you can say, is like very, very different.
Because geography influences our behavior, I guess. I think so.
Definitely. I guess definitely here, when the countries that are hotter, I think we're more open and we're more relaxed. We get more sunshine.
Go out in the street a lot.
Yeah. Vitamin D.
Sleep late.
But there, it's like São Paulo is a big city. People are there to work and to live very, very, very fast. And but one thing is how people behave, like how people respect your place. One example is the tube station. Sometimes you go there and it's 6:00. And it's very, very busy. But then when the doors of the tube opens, the people that is in comes out. If it's just one to come out and a lot of people to come in, they're gonna wait till the person comes out of the tube. The
tube for them to get on.
Get on, yeah. And
afterwards.
Yeah. So people
they have a sense of I don't know.
Kind of respect of a place, you know. So I have to. Now my next station. So, excuse me. So before even they touch you, I'm sorry. Can you excuse me? I'm sorry. Oh, thank you. So all the time you listen. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Yes.
Please, which is something that I always say to my students. Please, when you ask for something, say please.
Please. Yes, they are. So yes.
Yeah, so they say like all the time.
I had a very, very specific experience there as a tourist. The days that I stayed in Paris and the only 3 days that I stayed in London, the cab driver. They say taxi in London, taxi or cab? Cab.
No, they say.
Because I know cab, they say in New York.
I think it's taxi.
Taxi driver.
Yeah, I think it's taxi driver.
Well, anyway, my husband and I, we left the tube and we were looking for the hotel, but we didn't have the GPS or Waze or those. So I had to ask people for help. And then we talked to the taxi driver and he stopped, very, very polite and friendly. That's why they talked about the British politeness, and it really is. And it was funny because we were like around the corner, so to get to the hotel. And the guy, Thiago, he was a gentleman really, because he said, "Oh, it's around the corner," with that accent, beautiful accent as yours.
Around the corner.
Around the corner. Because I said, "Oh, I'm going to Park City Hotel," with my American pronunciation, and he couldn't understand me. And then I showed him.
Okay.
See, I'm a teacher and I had problem. And then I showed him, I showed him the voucher and he said, "Oh, Park City Hotel. Oh, it's around the corner." It was so nice. Thiago, can you believe he helped us with our luggage? He drove around the corner. He helped us, took the bags out of the car, and he didn't charge.
Oh my God.
Very polite. It was the first. So that's in the, unfortunately, opposite in Paris, I guess.
Oh, yes.
I don't mean to badmouth, but I think they're tired of tourists in Paris because we were
I mean, I had
We
the same
didn't
experience
have-
in Paris. Yes.
I had some too.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say. Let's just talk about good
Yeah,
things.
I guess this is a good point as well. So people, they're very polite, and also what I've learned is I could defend myself so good in English there, because how do you say, like when you slap someone with this glove on the face? There's something like,
okay,
you know,
there is an expression,
like something
like
you say something to someone, but you're not rude, but
you are
you say
defending
Yeah,
yourself. Okay,
that's
this
it.
is
Not
my
here.
place. In Portuguese, is luvas de pelica.
yes, this
But
is what
in
I want to
English,
say.
yes, I don't know, but I think there is something with the expression.
Yeah, guys, you can put in the comments
maybe we
if
can
you
learn it.
if you learn this. So then
That's what you learned.
Yeah, so I was like, so if someone
Being
come a
polite,
little bit
but
like rude, a little bit rude with me, like in a
marking
restaurant, or
territory.
I was like, okay. So very calm and say something to the person. The person was like, oops.
This is something that Brazilians can never do
no,
because of the
no.
Italian blood, I guess.
Yeah,
we all
The
have like
Portuguese.
lose temper. We lose our temper easily.
So there's something different that you asked. Other thing is the structure of the city. I mean, the public transportation works very, very well.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it here, but it's not very, very easy sometimes, because, for example, I remember one day when I had to use the hospital, they don't charge. It's like in Brazil. It's called NHS. Like in the United States, you get charged if you go to the hospital.
Yes, but in London, no.
But it was very bad.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, hello. The first time I had like an eye infection or something, and it was like I was looking like a frog basically. So the first time I went there, it took me 6 hours, and I wasn't attended, right?
Attended,
Yes,
yeah.
So I remember
Cared
this
for.
guy can say this guy would come to this room full of people waiting to be attended, to be looked after, and they said, guys, you're not gonna be we're gonna see you for 3 hours, and then again we're not gonna see you in 3 hours, and again, and after 6 hours I was like, no. So I went back to my house. The other day I went there in the morning, like very, very early in the morning. It was the same. It took me 6 hours to get see.
Oh my god.
And then I remember it was like something like this. My eyes was like very big. It was kind of red. And I entered this room, and the nurses said, well, I have to take off the clothes and put that the hospital clothes. And I was like,
that gown.
For this? I was like, no, for this? And she was like, yeah. And then I remember she
protocols, maybe they follow like it's the norm.
Maybe. But then I was there waiting in that room, and then somebody gave me a paper and said, you have to go to the eyes hospital. So
after all those,
all
those hours,
I had to walk to other building. And then I was very lucky because the receptionist was a Brazilian woman, and she was very polite with me. She was like, but they didn't give you anything like to drink, like antibiotics. I said, no. So the eye doctor looked, and then, but it was very bad. Yeah, and so it's easy to see people complaining about the service.
Healthcare service.
Yeah. But on the other hand, for example, I felt very safe, like walking with my phone or work with my computer on the street, something that we don't do here in Brazil, right? So one other thing is positive is even the police officers, they don't walk with guns, they walk with tasers, right? No,
okay.
Tasers,
I think, tasers.
And they are very polite.
And
so sometimes you go and you talk to them, and they're very polite. They're never gonna, well, not never, but they're not gonna be like you are somebody that's bad for the society unless you prove the opposite.
I was talking to my student, in another podcast, and he says about the U.S. too. Like they work as they are there to help you out.
Yeah.
Not as if they come to you as if you were a criminal, though they come in order to help. Like,
Definitely.
if you see, even if you're doing something wrong, they come to teach you.
Exactly.
So they never think, badly.
It was easy to see homeless people, because maybe they were drunk or on drugs. They were talking to the police officers, like very alterated, like speaking loud. And the police officers, they were handing gloves with the hands on the back. And of course, if the person touched them, they're gonna do something.
Mm-hmm.
But it's never like very, very. But I've never seen this. Maybe it has happened. Something like going to the other way, like south. Like people getting more, anger, and the anger comes in, but I don't know. So yeah, so the difference like about culture, I think, is this.
Yes.
You see
Very
this,
interesting and
like
very different.
They're different, but I guess also they had time to learn a lot. I think we're still very young, right?
Yeah, they're an older country, an older nation, and comparing to us, that's why they are more mature. Let's say,
more definitely.
mature.
But like I said, it's not 100%. Everything is like flowers and teas and champagnes and
as everybody says, the English tea and so on.
No. It's not 100% beautiful. I mean, of course, I'm not going to talk about bad things, but
Thiago, just one more last question because we are running out of our time. The people are curious also. I don't know if you could tell us something about the parliament there, the politics, about the monarchy. Mm-hmm. Do you know something? Did you get to learn something about it?
Yeah. I mean, I don't
that beautiful place. It's a wonderful view.
Yes.
In my opinion, one of the most beautiful constructed.
Yeah. What about Westminster? Westminster was just across.
Yes, I saw, but it was closed the day that I was there. We have the picture here, right?
Oh yeah,
the Westminster Abbey. Yeah. Wonderful. Yeah, I saw that. Amazing.
I remember they have the monarchy and also they have the parliament, so people get confused. It's not 100% monarchy. It's not 100% parliament.
But monarchy and parliament,
because like this, the monarchy is the head of the state. Even on, for example, some countries they still respond as the now king, as their king. So they are head of state, they're head of everything. But then the parliament,
the monarch.
This is
That it used to be Queen Elizabeth, now King Charles.
Yeah. And then, by the way, when she passed away, I was so sad.
Yes.
So then when it comes
sad.
to the parliament, they have the prime minister, which he responds to the country. So when they have to vote something, it's to the parliament and the prime minister. But the king has the power to stop. Because, for example, the king is the only one who can start a war to send the army, because the army the navy, etc. They respond to the monarchy, not to the parliament.
Not to the parliament. Oh, so it's like the parliament carries out, executes more. I don't know, things for the country.
They create law. They are talking to other countries. So you cannot see. I mean, you sometimes see people going to meet the king or more the queen before, because she was there for such a long time.
Yes,
and then he's quite new on this job, and but you don't see King Charles. Very worried about talking to Lula or talking to Biden. So I think the prime minister would do this.
Yeah, that's why he's more close to people and to actions.
And I think that the democracy,
very interesting.
The democracy works very good there because they have boroughs. Boroughs is like districts. They don't call districts, so they call borough. For example, borough of Westminster, and they will have let's say their own kind of not little laws, but let's say the services, right? So, for example, the borough of like a community of a district, they will talk about, I don't know, parking law, which is a kind of, it's not concerned to the country, it's the borough. So they're gonna.
So they have their own, not really laws, but their own norms. Of good living, of society in their own districts.
Kind of
they have a little autonomy then.
Yeah, like it's like the city hall, like little city halls distributed to. I think that works a lot. So for example, they will put
because it's sharing, like dividing the places, so it can be better.
What works
managed.
In the center maybe not gonna work for the outskirts. Outskirts. And then for example, the borough of Westminster, they will put out a paper called Green Paper, which is basically a green paper with the new law they wanted to apply, and people will kind of sign to vote. Let's say if that green paper is approved for the majority, it will become a kind of a normal, like a law in that district. So it doesn't affect like too much of the country, let's say,
but specifically to that reality of that life in that place.
Yeah, and that's why they do the divide parliament. So can you imagine the king responding to all parking that laws and stuff? So no, it's not impossible. Gonna work. So, but the monarchy is still the head of the states there.
Right.
So, and the king's chair can say yes or no.
They're very good. Thiago, amazing talking to you. No wonder the students love him. His students. Thiago is a very dear teacher to us and to your students as well. Because I can imagine how much you can share with them, Thiago, in classes.
Like to do, yes.
That was nice. Thiago, thank you so much for being here.
I
hope you have enjoyed.
Well. Yeah.
We can get to do this more times to talk about more about London or to talk about other subjects.
Definitely. I'll be very happy to come back.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Bye, guys.